Hi guys, welcome to a new video, and today I'll be showing you a whole build about a actually very underrated exotic right now during the season of the Witch currently right now in 2023. This is a very good build. I've been using this for quite a while now, and it's probably one of the most best builds for solo content, and really if you want to go with like a crap ton of ad clear, because I've been using this for quite a long time now, and it is really good. And I highly recommend using this thing. And this is the main exotic round we'll be using in this video. For the build is the Opathian Spade, and we'll be moving on to the subclass, the mods, and basically how everything works with this build. And I'll be showing you weapon recommendations at the end of this video as well. Make sure you guys tune into the video and check out more of my Destiny 2 content. If you want to, make sure you guys subscribe. And of course, enjoy the video. Alright, getting into the first section of the build, we'll be using the subclass. Now, the whole subclass revolved around this build is, of course, going to be solar, and this will allow us to get infinite ignitions all the time, and will basically be giving us fire sprites, which is practically very useful during this build a lot. I hope you guys enjoy. We'll be using the Blade Barrage as our super, as the most damaging one in the game right now, and then we'll be using the Gambler's Dodge to get back our knives much faster in case we miss. And then we'll be using the Knife Trick for our main source of damage and ignitions that we'll be making. And then we'll be using the Healing Grenade to give ourselves restoration so we can heal and constantly cause ignitions. And then we'll be using for the aspects, Knock Them Down, which will let us refund our melee energy with Radiant. And we'll be using the On Your Mark to let us get more reloading with our abilities. Now going on to the fragments, we'll be using Ember Singeing to get back our class ability faster with Scorching. And then we'll be using Ember of Empyrean so that any of our abilities or our weapons will extend our Radiant Restoration. Then Ember of Tempering, which will create fire sprites, which we can use to get grenade energy back. Then we'll be using Ember of Torches to let us get Radiant with our melees. And then we'll be using the Ember of Ashes to apply our Scorch so that we can cause more ignitions constantly easier. Now this build is incredibly useful upon multiple things because you can just blow up everything like in the background footage. And it's really easy to use. This is one of the most simplest builds in the game. And I have a lot of fun using it. I still use it to this day, and it's probably one of my favorites because of how stupidly easy you don't even really need to try with it at all, because as long as you just figure out how it's used and get used to the basics of it, it becomes very easy to go on. But anyways, we'll be moving on to the next section of the video, which are going to be the mods. And these are actually probably the easiest part and the most simplest. You're not really going to do anything complicated. But anyways, let's get into the mods section right now. Alright, moving on to the next section of the build, we'll be using mods. This is probably one of the most easiest sections of the build. You don't really have to be worrying about anything at all during this. And it's a quite fun experience trying to learn mods during this whole part. But anyways, moving on to the mods. I also just want to say before we go into any of this, the chest piece is whatever you want because it's just really easy. You don't really need anything with it. And it's just really simple. Because the chest piece is probably one of the useless pieces of armor that's in the game currently. They might buff it, but I don't know. Anyways, the first mod we'll be going with is Harmonic Siphon, because we'll be using our Callus Mini Tool or whatever solar weapon we're using a lot. And then we'll be using a hands-on mod as well, with two harmonic mods as well. And then we'll be using a heavy-handed because we'll be throwing our knives constantly. And then I used Fastball because I had an extra one with me, but also you won't use Impact Induction with this as well to go for a quite good build. And then chest piece, I went with Harmonic Reserves for the extra ammo. And then I went with Recuperation so that if I don't get any restoration at all, I can use this. And I went with a Solar Weapon Surge to buff my damage with my weapon. And then I went with an Innervation mod to reduce our grenade cooldown because we'll be using this a lot. And then for the class ability, we'll be using a Reaper mod, which will allow us to dodge and get more orbs of power. And then we'll be using a Bomber mod, which will reduce our grenade cooldown even more with this as well. And then we'll be using a powerful Traction mod to give us more to collect anything that is near us at all. And this is incredibly useful for high damage situations because I started using this during damage for like I used Lament, and then I just used this whole build with it, and I was able to crack out almost 3 million damage. I was just doing the Avarok. I was doing the final boss in Grasp of Avarice. I was able to dish out that amount of damage very easily as well. And the other person on my team was going with a Strand Titan, the best Strand Titan build in the game, and yet it was still absolutely. I somehow was able to out damage that. So he was even using Tractor Cannon as well, which is the crazy thing because I used Tractor Cannon during this, and it was quite And it was actually trigger can combined with Lament. It's pretty busted on when you're not doing the heavy attacks. But anyways, getting into the final section, which are the weapon recommendations. Now these are only some things that I recommend. These are not things that you have to have, but I just have them because they're honestly very cool in my opinion. Because I think that they just make the build shine out a little bit more beyond others, and it's just really cool for something like this in the game. Alright, moving on to the first weapon I recommend is the Riptide, because this chills people, and then hitting them frozen will do bonus melee damage. But then I also recommend the Sunshot as well for the most explosions. And then I recommend Galahorn if you're not using any of these at all to spare an exotic slot. It's pretty good as well. And then I also use Tommy's Matchbook some points. It was alright, I didn't really like it a lot, but it's an option. And then I use Callous Mini Tool as one of my main options with Grave Robber and Incandescent for a really good roll, and then a Blinding GL with that as well, and that seemed to be the most viable and most powerful option in the game. Now that's what I liked using that during the build. If you have any other options or any good recommendations I can give, just always comment down below, because I'm always up to whatever something that I could change or something that I can improve. I just chose these because this is just one of the easier things that I saw that was pretty cool. And I was like, oh, this is really fun, because I finally got a Callus, a really good one. I don't have the Craftable yet, one piece away. But I just used this one Callus Mini Tool roll, and I was just able to melt practically anything that was thrown at me. And if you don't know in the background footage, I'm doing the Master version, or not Master, I'm doing the Legendary version of the Witch Queen mission. I think it's the third one, I believe, I'm not sure. But I just did it with that, and I was able to solo the whole thing. I didn't do it first try, at some points I got trolled a little bit. But it was still incredibly good, because this is just something that's viable and usable on all sides of the spectrum. But anyways, if you guys want to see any more of this content below, make sure you guys subscribe and hit the like button down below. Just helping with the content a lot for my channel is really good. And I noticed that I checked my stuff. It's been a little while since I posted, but I had 58 recent viewers that have seen the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching that a lot. But anyways, hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.